Welcome back to Ill Blurmatic, and today we're gonna talk about the movie I saw. Yes, I know it's been a minute since I've been here, but let's get right into it. What am I talking about? The movie Black Widow. Yes, so let's talk about this movie and the things I really enjoyed about it, the things I didn't enjoy about it, and then I give you my final verdict. So let's talk about it. So this movie starts off in 1995, pretty much with Black Widow and her sister in Ohio as a super spy family. It's really cool. At the beginning of the film, we see Natasha as a younger kid. Also, her sister Helena. I really like that they showed the backstory of Black Widow. I think that was what was missing with Captain Marvel. Not to compare the movies or anything like that, but we had a backstory. We saw the type of family she was. Her family pretty much were spies from Russia. That's what we got. Okay? But who they were taking the stuff from that were spies? S.H.I.E.L.D. Shockingly, I was like, oh, S.H.I.E.L.D. And you know why I feel that way. I was like, wait a minute. Wasn't Natasha a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. later on? Reggie? So we see the family eventually having to move out the suburbs. Elaine, her mother, also her father. And eventually, they have to leave Ohio and get out of there before S.H.I.E.L.D. comes and pretty much, get the information that they're trying to get from the family. What I like about this is, like I said, we have a beginning point for a movie, and that was really interesting. But towards the other part, we see her mother and father do something that's unthinkable. They end up giving their kids to Dragovich, excuse me. And I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Apparently, they were paid to do what they had to do in order to survive. Which was very interesting. But reconditioning kids to become assassins and spies? Yikes! So the other part of this film, let's get into it, is the action. There's enough action. I never grew bored with the film, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was Natasha fighting the other widows in the film, her and her sister teaming up, and her sister fighting one another. Sometimes siblings don't get along. Very interesting. I did like that aspect of the film. Also, the Taskmaster scenes were really cool. It kind of sucked that we didn't have a Taskmaster talking, but she had those moves down pat. So, you know what I'm saying? So that each time she fought Taskmaster, it was always different. So I did like the uniqueness of the fight scenes. You can even tell the stunt double between Scarlett Johansson and the stunt double. So love that aspect of it, because I never knew that she had a stunt double for Black Widow. At all. I never knew. But I did like that. Also, I like that there was a scene that was really powerful in this film. Living in a false nucleus family. Natasha knew that her family wasn't her real family, except for her father that was Red Guardian. Her mother wasn't her real mother. That was someone that I think her father had some type of interest in, and she looked after his daughters. Even the other daughter wasn't Natasha's blood sister, but she treated her like a sister. But she knew that their family was dysfunctional, you know what I'm saying? Her father was in jail, you know what I'm saying? As the Russian super soldier, he had some beef with Captain America. Helena, she thought her sister had abandoned and neglected her because she had an actual family outside of the family nucleus that she was a part of, but she didn't want nothing to do with them. She related to Natasha more because they were both widows. She was a Black Widow, she's a widow. And you can see that there's a familiarity with them. And it had to accept that their family was not perfect. No matter how much of a family you have, families have issues, family have problems. They're not always the same problems. So I did enjoy the theme of the family not quite being as authentic as she wanted them to be. So that's something that we learned. Also with this film, influences. Let's talk about influences right now. So the influences, I knew right off the bat, just some of the scenes sounded like were influenced by definitely Born Identity. When I saw this film, like, yep, Born Identity vibes, Born Identity vibes. Also, it had like some James Bondish spy. You know what I'm saying? Because Natasha is a spy. You know what I'm saying? So, had espionage-ness with it, which was really cool. So, I did like that it had other influences, but it wasn't like it was like suffocating, like, hey, Born Identity, James Bond films. No, it did not have that type of feel. It felt like it was authentic. There's nothing wrong with films having other influences from other movies. I am not against that, long as it has like its own approach or uniqueness to it. And I felt that with Black Widow. I said, yo, this is it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is pretty much the villains. Let's talk about the villains. So Taskmaster, a lot of you guys know, and originally in the comics, Taskmaster is a male. It's never been a female. Marvel took a risk with it. Okay, it's not the best risk ever. The only thing I didn't necessarily care for about Taskmaster, and let me just say this off the top, because Taskmaster is the main villain, Taskmaster had no dialogue. Okay? No dialogue whatsoever. No talking, nothing, just kicking butt. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of like, okay, we got Silent Taskmaster. Okay, I'll take it. I understood later on in the film, I'm not going to spoil it for people that have not seen Black Widow, but I understood why Taskmaster was the way, why there was no dialogue included. Let's talk about Dragovich. Understandable. Black Widow did the unthinkable. You tried to kill his daughter off. And you could see why he had revenge against her and her sister and her family, and why he had the other widows come to try to kill Helena and her, because he like, hey, you tried to take out my daughter. You know what I'm saying? I brought you into my home and treated you like family. I didn't even have to do all that. You know what I'm saying? So we understood Dragovich had revenge motives. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with Taskmaster, I'm sorry, I'm gonna spoil it a little bit, but Dragovich and Taskmaster connected because that is his actual daughter. She survived the killing of Black Widow, so there is a spoiler with this. So let's get to the other thing. I felt that should have had some more scenes. I felt like they should have had some more scenes with Red Guardian, the Russian super soldier. And I think it worked out. I did like that he got a chance to fight Taskmaster besides arm wrestling in jail. You know what I'm saying? I did like that aspect of it. And that's cool. And the other thing I forgot to mention, I love the chemistry between Scarlett Johansson, played by Black Widow, and Lawrence Pugh. If I'm saying her name wrong, forgive me. The chemistry was there. The chemistry between the actors really brought out the film. Literally, I was like, yes, yes. So, good chemistry. Story, a little interesting. You know, shield here and there. Also, we learned that the story takes place during Civil War, where the Avengers broke up, because it's talked about quite a bit in this film. The only other thing that I saw that may have been something that they could have worked on was some of the jokes. That was just my spiel on it. But I really have to think about what I'm going to tell you now. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the ending. So with this movie, there is literally two endings. Two endings. You know how Marvel does it. The first ending is when Natasha comes across an old friend that we see earlier in the film. I don't speak too much on this character because I feel like he's not really as much important right now. But an old ally slash like love interest. Pretty much giving her an actual like new like pretty much jet or plane, whatever it was. The next one is with her sister, that is the Iron Maiden, and pretty much she's at Natasha's grave. This is like pretty much Affinity War, because we see, you know, Natasha pass as Black Widow and her wanting revenge for Hawkeye. But I gotta say, I gotta give this film I gotta give this film a 4 out of 5. I really liked the film. I felt like I said, certain things could have been better. Like I said, certain dialogue. Like some of the dialogue was more geared towards adults, not kids. Like I said, kept my interest all the way through. Loved how the cast came together, the story of the family. And I just think that this really, really worked out, because I really had high hopes for this film. And I just said the last film that I really enjoyed by Marvel that was Hirone, it was not Captain Marvel. No, no. It was Elektra before then. That was back early 2000s, okay? We need some more modern, up to date, and I think Black Widow was it. Like I said, Scarlett Johansson does a great job playing Black Widow. And like I said, have you guys seen Black Widow in theaters or that Disney Plus app? You tell me in the comments, guys. Your boy Ill Blurmatic, and I'm out.